What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Esports Hub, or the Hub Date, whatever you want to call it. We're already in episode number 7, and as you can see, like every episode just before, I'm joined by two very special guests in the form of Terry and Nick, both from Citylan. That's what we're going to be mainly talking about today, talking about the event that they've got coming up and a couple other things as well. So just to kick things off, if you both want to introduce yourselves and basically talk about who you are, how you've got into the scene, and where you are at right now. So we'll start with Terry, and then we'll go to Nick.
Yeah, my name's Terry Harris, and I'm one of the directors of Citylan, the company that runs the event. And I got into it through my son, who's an avid gamer. He's mainly a Halo player, and he's also a developer. He's a very good little indie developer. He's writing a few games for the apps and stuff like that. And shocking. Sorry, someone's trying to put me off camera. So that's where I'm at, yeah. So that's what I do. And this is Nick. Over to you, Nick.
What about you, Nick?
I don't know how I got into it really, did I? Because I used to have...
I just kind of rocked up one day and I ended up here.
It's somebody like that, actually, yeah.
Terry's really good friends with the sales director at Citylan, and I work with the sales director for another company doing just like new LED light bulbs.
So it's kind of having kind of mutual friends within the scene.
Yeah, and I'm into like web design and marketing and media and graphics.
Oops, his phone's going off.
Sorry.
Shall we start that again?
Carry on, Nick.
Just carry on.
But yeah, no, I do marketing and web design. I do the social media for another company who Terry knows, and then he came to us to try and sell stands for the exhibition. So that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to do sales and also run all the online campaigns and stuff like that. So that's my role.
Awesome stuff. Right, so the first question for both of you is, I'll ask Terry this first, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, you're kind of in charge of the whole operation. Or is that not right?
That's what I'm supposed to be.
Okay, so we kind of talked about it just before the show, but how many people do you have working at Citylan? Do you want to just kind of give a brief description of what they all do and whether they're part-time, full-time, etc.?
Well, okay, I mean, most of the people are part-time because we are a start-up. We're partly council-funded, so we have had a support from the council in Peterborough. They've been mega supportive. And that means we don't have anybody on a payroll per se. So we have Nick, who's doing our social media and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's a voluntary basis. And then we have Gary, who's on our sales, and they're working on a commission-based offering. And then we've got Warren. Warren is a security guard at the local shopping centre. So he's very, very knowledgeable about stuff like that. So he's dealing with our logistics and health and safety and all the kind of stuff that goes on the back there. And we've got Dave. Dave is the other director. And he's dealing with, he's full-time, he's potentially dealing with all the business side of it and all the people that are involved in that. And there's my son Luke, he's kind of involved with the gaming side of it, but he's not so involved at the moment because he's obviously just doing his exams. He's in his
okay, obviously, yeah, makes sense.
So he's doing A-levels, they finished, he's going to come on, he's going to be doing work experience with us.
Okay, that's good.
So that's epic, that's brilliant, I love that. So. And then there's me, and basically I am probably the only one that's full on with Nick. There's me and Nick really are the two that work constantly full time, and Gary is doing sales. Gary he's a sales director for his own company, but he's also doing our sales. So he's going out getting all the exhibition and talking to the companies, and he's also sorting out all the other stuff that's coming, all the other.
Awesome stuff. So there's a quite close-knit group of you guys that some are part-time, some are full-time. Obviously, Nick's voluntary, so you all do kind of various things around the clock. Nick, obviously, you talk about you are in charge of social media and stuff. How's it been, obviously, as a startup organisation? Haven't obviously had your first LAN yet. How's it been trying to get the word out, trying to get teams to actually apply and enter and so on and so forth your events?
Yeah, it's been. I thought it'd be a bit of a struggle, but to be honest, it's been really easy because we've been doing like competitions. It's just taken off. We've gone up like over 1,000 followers in just over 2 months. So everyone's talking about it, and because we're getting all the schools involved here, like, literally, if you're on Peterborough and someone sees it, then I know what it is like that now. It's just crazy on like Facebook and Twitter and set up the Instagram as well. So yeah, it's going really well. Now, obviously, the EGL are involved as well. It's given us a massive like. Podium sort of thing, so we're just
most definitely. Terry, just to touch on that, how did this link between yourselves and EGL come about? Because obviously EGL have been in the scene for quite a long time. They took a step back at the start of Advanced Warfare, focused on other things like Halo. They've now obviously contacted yourselves or a various way and wanted to be in partnership with you guys in running this event. How did that come about? Did you contact them or did they contact you?
No, they reached out to us on Twitter. one of their guys reached out to us and said, you know, oh look, I've been watching your Twitter and we're watching your games, stuff like that. I want to introduce you to Glenn, and Glenn is one of the key guys at EGL. So I sent Glenn a message and said, look, you know, do you want to have a chat? Do you want to come down and have a look? And he said, yeah, I'm quite keen. So he came down to Peterborough, or up rather, on a train, and came to the venue. We took him around the venue, showed him what we're going to do, showed him our plans, showed him all our layout and what we're hoping to do. And I think he was keen, because the venue, Kingsgate, is like, it's a seriously good venue.
It looks like a very good venue from the pictures obviously you've been posting. It looks like you've got various different areas for different things that we'll come on to talk about in a sec.
Yeah, he is. So he was taken by that. He brought his production guy, Matt, down with him, and Matt had a look at how he could deal with the production in terms of what we can do when we're streaming it and when we're putting it out there, so we can do all that. And then it's kind of snowballed from there. So then we got together and we put together the plan and how much they would need and what we would need from them, and kind of drew that up, and we've kind of agreed on that. So that's all been signed off and agreed. And then Glenn said basically Dan will be handling it full time. So we now have Dan Kinston. He's our go-to man, if you like, at EGL. So he deals with us. He's been drawing up the plans, working out what we're going to do, and then telling us and keeping us informed of how the games are going. While Glenn in the background has gone off talking to some of the big games developers, you know, and saying to them, you know, you really want to be coming to this event. So we're hoping to shortly make some new announcements on some other games as well.
Awesome. Yeah.
We'll keep you posted on
I
that.
mean, for yourselves, both of you, did you ever expect the likes of EGL to kind of contact you and want to have a collaboration in bringing this event? Or did you think it would be something that you'd have to earn your stripes at, you know, at least a couple of lands before you maybe saw big sponsors and big organisations like EGL wanting to be a part of this?
We did, yeah. I mean, we did small steps and all that. We thought, you know, it's going to be an uphill struggle, because we are, and I'll be quite honest, you know, I was fairly naive in the world of esports on how it's working, because I've been involved in football, and it's not the same at all. You can't draw a comparison really.
No, you can't.
I try, and it just fails every time.
Yeah, I mean, it's like everything. It may be kind of deemed as in the same category, but it's still very, very much different in very many different aspects.
And that's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what that is making this exciting. But it's a great thing to be in. I'm really enjoying it. My son, when he gets out of his exams, you know, he's going to be full on, and then it'll be quite good then. I mean, without people like Nick and that, it's going to be a struggle. But EGL. I'm giving him
a bit of a shout out for his work.
No, do you know what, Nick's been key? You know, we had about 300 followers when we first started on Twitter. It was really slow, and then after the last month and a bit, we've gone right up to now nearly 1,200 followers.
Awesome.
And he communicates, and that's the key thing. We are talking to everybody on Twitter. You know, he can communicate. If you come on there, you've got questions.
That's massive for, you know, the public and your audience, basically, to know that you're there for them and you're seeing what they're saying and you're interacting with them. I feel like that's a massive part, and it's obviously very evident that it's played a massive part in your growth over the last couple of months. You talk about how you've grown about 1,500 followers in 2 months. What's crazy numbers, really, and it's meant that a lot of people are building a lot of hype around this event, and I think a lot of people are definitely excited for it.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly that. You know, it's going to put people on the map. We're a really easy place to get to. That's key. And like I say, we are running a business, but we want to talk to people. We want to be, you know, we want it to be a kind of a community-led thing. You know, we want people to get involved. We want them to join in.
Yeah.
And it's going to be different at our land than other lands. You know, I think it'll be very similar to kind of an amateur pro kind of feeling, you know, where people can all talk to each other and you all can mingle and stuff like that. Yeah. As opposed to a hardcore business. We're not down that route yet.
Yeah. So I guess the question I want to ask both of you now is, what was kind of, I think Terry you'll be able to answer this a bit better, but what was kind of the inspiration behind saying, right, I want to do a LAN event, not just that, I want to do basically a convention style thing with loads of different things. You've got obviously indie games and so on and so forth. What was kind of the inspiration behind this? Was it your idea, or was it something that you got from someone else?
It was actually my son's idea. Again, you see, you can probably relate to this. I mean, lots of people can. You want to go around your mates. You want to spend time with your mates. So you want
most definitely
play some games. And you get there, and there's only you've got one TV in the house, or you've got maybe two. No one there. There's 6 of you around the house. Not enough TV, so you can't play. So he said, you know, we want to do a LAN. So I went to Dave, and Dave is the manager of a garden park, and said, look, you know, can we use one of your units? It might be something we can do. We can set up a load of tables and chairs, set up a little LAN. And it kind of snowballed from that, really. And then Dave said, well, if you're going to do it, we're going to do it properly. Let's go and look at it. And we talked to the council. We went to the council leader at the time, and we spoke to them. And Marco Sereste was I mean, we were literally in front of them 5 minutes. And they said, yeah, what do we need to make this work? This is something we want to start.
Were you expecting that support?
We to be honest, we hadn't had anything negative. I'll be perfectly honest, we hadn't really had anything negative. The only thing slightly negative was the fact that the games they felt might be a little bit. But once we explained, in a grown-up kind of way that COD isn't in the same as campaign mode. There's none of this swearing and acting.
Yeah, most definitely.
Paintball, then therefore it's more age appropriate, and the other games is irrelevant anyway. So once we explained that, and then once we explained, we're trying to be responsible with the kids in the way that we do it, because it's not all kids. It is, the demographic for this goes right up to the 40s. I still play Counter-Strike Source. But it's like and I'm nearly 40.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong at all.
So that was So when we got that kind of support from them, so Luke's idea is kind of snowballed, and then we wanted to make it. The council obviously needed it to make it work for the city, and we wanted to bring something slightly different. So the careers and the technology expo, which is completely free around the esports bit, it's kind of what's going to drive the public to it. So we're hoping that we can raise the profile of esports and what is going on in there, because it is fantastic to watch. I get
most definitely
watching some of it. I mean, I love watching Nip. I think they're brilliant, and Optic and stuff like that. And I just think you get a lot of them people coming in there, and then they'll realise what esports is, and they'll watch a bit of it.
Yeah,
I think that'll work. And we were introduced slightly to EGL when HCS was on, because Peterborough was one of the first ones to stream to Showcase Cinema when they were doing the HCS season 1 in London. And that was what Vibe won that one, I think, and they went off to PAX, didn't they, to do that. But that was, that's when we first we're meeting with EGL, but it wasn't anything hard. We just go about leaflets.
Yeah, but then obviously they've stepped up and said, hey, we want to be a part of what you're doing.
Because it's great. Okay. I'll tell you what, having EGL on board was fantastic.
Yeah, because obviously they've got experience. They've been around for many years. They've done 13 LANs themselves, so they have the experience.
Exactly, and that's what we needed. We needed that experience. We needed that, but we also need that kind of. They're out there and people know them, and that gives us that kind of feeling of comfort, if you like, that someone like EGL is involved. Makes everyone feel happy, and they're also bringing new things to it. They're interested in bringing new things, which is key, what we want. So
awesome. Okay, question for Nick. Obviously, at the moment you're voluntary, doing social media and stuff like that. You talk about how you kind of got into this via having mutual friends and so on and so forth. Are you surprised with the amount of hype, or I don't really like the word, but the amount of, I guess, people and support that you've had around this event that's coming in August? Because it's very clear that a lot of teams, notable teams in Europe, have talked about it, like XO Esports and a couple other. Are you surprised by the amount of or how the community has kind of like reacted to this event?
Yeah, I mean, because I know there's other LANs going on, and some of them have even dropped COD. I don't know if I can say the names or not, but I won't anyway. But no, because there's only, as far as I'm aware, there's ourselves who are doing PS4 and Xbox, and then there's one other LAN coming up in the next month or so that are doing it as well. But that's all I see on Twitter and the social feeds is just people talking about just us, and then Ames Pro. Can say them?
Yeah, Ames Pro. No, Ames Pro.
Yeah, Ames Pro. Yeah, they've really helped us out as well.
They've been really good. Yeah.
And but yeah, I was surprised with the reaction from the community, the local community in Peterborough as well, because I think you'd never expect to hear, would you?
Yeah, I mean, the council supporting you. I mean, I think it's absolutely great for obviously Peterborough, one of probably the largest growing city at the moment. It's expanding by a lot, so I think it's absolutely great that they're getting on board and supporting what you're doing. And I think you bring up a very good point about kind of the expo and the other side. It's not just a LAN event. It's not just you've just got Call of Duty there. You've got so much going on. It's definitely worthwhile attending, because there's something isn't going on, there'll be something else going on, and so on and so forth. Touching on the whole PS4 side of things, is that something that you saw there was a gap in the market, so you're like, hey, let's offer a PS4 LAN, because obviously it's not really something that's out there at the moment. Obviously, with the majority of the Call of Duty scene being on Xbox, it doesn't make too much sense, but there is a community, especially in Europe, I feel. So was that something you saw and was like, hey, there's a gap in the market, let's offer something that they've been wanting for a while?
Well, to be honest, we've been contacted by quite a few people on Twitter about having a PS4 something, and they said, don't leave us behind and don't let us go. And we're like, well, we really don't have any experience in that area. We have experience in Xbox, and we talk to people about the Xbox and stuff like that. But this was EGL. They came up with, said, look, we'll bring you something new. Why don't we bring in PS4? It won't be as big as Xbox. We know that, but we're 62 hours straight through, so we can afford them the time to range to effectively two fairly substantial lands to go on. So they said that we'll bring PS4 in. We'll try and bring some other stuff which they're still working on. But that was great because we can make that announcement and say, look, we've got PS4 coming, and our PS4 guys on our Twitter were like, that's really great. So that's kind of take off, and I'm all for it as well, because at the end of the day, we're all playing on consoles and stuff like that. It's PS4, Xbox, it makes no difference.
It's heads or tails. I feel they're very much competing against themselves. There's not too much difference between them. So from what you're saying, basically, are you saying that if EGL maybe hadn't come on board, there wouldn't be a PS4 LAN?
I wouldn't have said that. I mean, we would have tried. But they took the ball and they rolled with it before we had a chance to maybe discuss it further.
Okay, that's interesting.
To do it, so they'd already gone and said, look, we will bring... And they came back and said, we've spoken to whoever they spoke to. I'm not privy to their conversations, but they said, we've spoken to people, we've got the hardware, we're going to bring the PS4s to the LAN. So I said, that's excellent, let's have that. So they did it. I wouldn't say we wouldn't. I mean, we don't know. We took a different path. But if we hadn't have had EGL, then potentially not. I would have liked to say we would.
I mean, let's put it in perspective. At the end of the day, this is your first LAN. To put on both Xbox and PS4 LAN by yourselves would be a massive task. And if you achieved it, I would, really look at it and just be like, wow, that's something they've achieved. And obviously, people have to realise that it takes a lot of manpower just to run one LAN. So to run two at the same time at the same weekend, and the resources you'll need is absolutely mind-boggling. But obviously with EGL's help, it's all going to be possible. So that's obviously great. In terms of both Xbox and PS4, I want to kind of talk more about details now. So obviously the LAN is taking place the 20th through the 22nd, if I'm not mistaken, of August. We obviously have the Expo going on as well. You have some indie games, developers, all sorts going on. But in terms of the Xbox and PS4 LANs for Call of Duty, can you give me a bit of details of what's going on?
Well, I mean, I don't know what kind of details you want, but we're putting in places for, I think, 64 teams on the Xbox One, and at the moment 32 teams on the
PS4.
On the PS4.
Yeah, it's understandable, obviously, with the PS4 being a bit less competed on, shall we say.
Yeah, but they have got trigger points.
Probably an important thing as well is the COD tournaments won't start until Friday, so it's the 22nd, because we're aware that, mate, we've had loads of people talking to us like we'll collect our reserve results on the 21st.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So it's not great for the weekend when it's taking place, but
luckily with all the tournaments for COD, which is what everyone's interested in winning the prize points, it's like 10 grand minimum, isn't it, at the minute?
7.5.
7.5 million.
7.5 and I think 2.5 for the PS4. Yeah,
okay,
so,
awesome.
And that can rise up according to how many they trigger points are. So
obviously, yeah.
But I mean, we are on a Thursday, and the kids pick up their exam papers. But bear in mind, we're not all that age range, and not every kid is going to be taking.
Yeah, that's true. A lot will obviously be 18 or.
Huge. Yeah, we've got a huge following locally as well, so they can pick them up in the morning. They can be there anyway.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really awesome.
So there's not going to be. They're not going to miss that. And the games, like you say, don't kick off until the 21st for that, so they'll still be able to get involved. So it's definitely not the end of the world by a long shot.
Yeah, most definitely. Okay, awesome. So that's kind of the details for anyone that obviously was thinking of attending one of these. 64 team for the Xbox, 32 team for the PS4. Well, I'm honestly, I think it's a really good step in the right direction, because it's nice to know that you guys have obviously seen what the community have been saying. Obviously, people saying, hey, look, we're on PS4. Can you help us out? Maybe put on the LAN. It's nice to know that obviously with yourselves and EGL that you're able to put this on and not only have an Xbox LAN, but a PS4 LAN going on at the same time. So obviously, we'll come on to talk about the future in a second, but I want to just go to kind of some questions from Twitter that we got by tweeting out, and people basically wanted to know some certain things. So we'll start off by getting a question in from, I think it's Maxi Storm. Basically wanted to know, do the PS4 players need to bring their own consoles? Because, I mean, typically at LANs this isn't the case. Are EGL helping you out with the consoles, or is that going to be the case?
EGL have been in contact with Sony, and they'll be providing all the PS4s.
Okay.
So there'll be a full complement of PS4s there, and stations will set up for them to play. So.
Oh, awesome. So the only things that the players are going to really need to bring is a disc, their controller, and I presume a micro USB of some sort.
Headset.
And headset as well, sorry, yeah. Most important. So that answers your question. He actually had another question as well, saying, is there a discount code or discount for teams that are going with an organisation? Well, I think we touched on a little bit before the show. If you can just enlighten us on what is the case with that.
There are some discounts out there with some of the teams if they sign up a certain number of players, but there was, I think it was Krypton Gaming that put something out on one of his feeds that there was something for the orgs to get a discount, but that hadn't been agreed yet with the EGL. So,
okay, so nothing official yet.
Yeah, I'll just kind of watch this space because I don't know what we're agreeing.
Yeah. So to answer that question for anyone thinking about this, I would say wait, and obviously if something does happen, we'll know in the coming weeks and months and so on. But
coming days, I would have thought.
Days. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, another question, if I can just find it, it's coming in from Kieran from XL. I think this is a bit of a plug. He basically says, how did you get involved with XL Esports, and what code can you use for a discount ticket?
I don't know what their code is because they've got a code.
Oh no! Have I stitched you up? Have I stitched you up?
No, big shout out because Joel and Kieran came down to see us. They came and met us very early on.
Yeah, awesome dudes.
We discussed about how we were going to do the esports, and they put us in the right direction on how we should run the esports thing.
Okay.
And we needed their input, and their input. Without their input, I think we would still be kind of struggling along, clop hopping through all the mud that is involved in dealing with this.
Yeah.
So they kind of put us on the right track. They were fantastic. Yeah, big shout out to Gold.
They are absolute awesome guys.
I think their one is XL Esports Ticks, XL Esports Ticks, something like that, and then you get I think you get a fairly hefty discount with them, so it's good to do that because you get a 20 quid off for them.
Yeah, that's a large amount for a team pass, I'd say. Yeah. So that's awesome stuff that they obviously came down. They're awesome dudes. It's nice to know that you're taking on board different various people's perceptions and opinions, and obviously this is ultimately going to make a really good LAN, hopefully. So moving on to the next question coming in from Just Stealth, a European caster. He wants to know whether any doubts or questions even about the event being PS4 and not Xbox One, when we know it's going to be Xbox One and PS4. So I guess the question is, in terms of putting on a LAN for both Xbox and PS4, were there any... I'm going to kind of reword this question. Were there any doubts about being able to run both, or was that kind of wiped away when EGL came on board?
No, once EGL came on board, I think that kind of dismissed all that. We've got complete and utter confidence in EGL and their team. So we've met them, and the way they talk and what they do, they can definitely walk the walk. So no, there's no question that we've got any reservations about the PS4. I think it'll be just as good as the Xbox, and if not, I think it might even grow because of our event, and I hope that it will. I hope that some others take this on board and say, look, hold on, there's a PS4 community out there. Let's bring that in and bring them into more lands. And EGL are going to be the proving ground for this.
Awesome stuff. Well, that kind of concludes questions from the community and what they wanted to ask you guys. I want to talk about the future now for Citylan. So obviously this LAN is taking place in August. I guess it's probably too soon, but if this LAN is a success, I presume you're going to continue to produce LANs and stuff. Is it going to stay in Peterborough, or have you had any thoughts about where else you may go?
It's not. This isn't exclusive, but I mean, it's been talked about anyway. But we had to, because of the venue. The venue is very expensive, so we had to pre-book the venue, and we booked it for two events a year for 3 years.
Okay, so that's what you can expect, guys. So if you live around the Peterborough area, you're in luck. There's going to be 6 events over the next 2 years. So
3 years.
3 years, sorry, not one about. I think that's really awesome news. Obviously, it's a big investment, but hopefully it's something that will pay off in the long run.
We hope so, yeah. I mean, if we can just prove this and then get the exhibition right and get the balance right and get people involved in the esports, that will grow. The stadium at the moment can seat approximately. It can seat 1,200, but because we've got the esports in the auditorium, we kind of knocked out a few seats, so we can seat about 800. But
that's still a good number, though.
It is a good number, but the next year we will be able to seat another 350 on top of that 800 because they're in the top tier seating across the top. So we'll be able to get more people in there as well. But we've kind of left some of it standing room so people can stand and watch. And obviously they want to walk around the consoles and watch all the different games. They can do that as well.
That's awesome stuff. So it's something that obviously in the long run is hopefully going to pay off, and you'll have progression as we go through. And hopefully, as you talked about earlier, with the event not just being solely for esports, you've got the expo, you've got various hopefully developers and people within gaming coming. Hopefully it's just going to mean that we're just going to keep on growing and growing and growing, and eventually after these 3 years we can see you who knows where we'll be in 3 years. So
that's it. I mean, just as we speak, I mean, not in the esports arena, but Gary, our sales guy's just come in and said that hackathon, we've got the hackathon on, and we've got the sponsor for it. It's just signed them up, so that's quite a good one. So there's going to be a hackathon game as well. So even if you get knocked out of your team in games, you don't want anyone to get knocked out, but unfortunately you will.
Yeah.
There's going to be loads of other stuff, you know, the hackathon and stuff like that, and all the other things.
YouTube stars.
There's a YouTube stuff there,
Minecraft workshops.
Oh, awesome. So, I mean, as we talked about, if there's, you know, if you do get knocked out or your favourite thing ends, there is always going to be something else going on across the weekend. I just wanted to quickly touch on what's been happening over the last few weekends, because obviously you've been running some mini events in and around Peterborough, if I'm not mistaken. If you can just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, we had some pods made up that they got you know, little tiny mini stations. They're basically four Xboxes and 8 screens, and then we just let the guys come down and play a bit of COD if they want a 2v2 and stuff like that. We had some Minecraft this weekend. We had Ash come. He's a YouTuber. He's just hit his 400,000 subscribers on YouTube. So
Nice.
he's local. He's come along. He did some. He played with some of the kids in the shopping centre. We were in Serpentine Green there. We're in Queensgate on the 20th, I believe. 20th of June. So we're having one in Queensgate outside John Lewis. There'll be again a big COD set up there. Just pop along and have a little taster or a little V2. Just, you know, no money involved. Just sit down and have a little play, or just mingle and have a little chat and talk to us about what we're doing at the event. You know, it's any of that, and we'll give out some details. And we've got some prizes. And Game have been helping us with a few things here and there. So Game Hampton and Queensgate, they will be there with some t-shirts and give out some neckbands and stuff like that. So
that's really awesome to see the likes of, obviously you've had Peterborough City Council helping you, Game, a massive name within gaming. It's nice to see the support I guess you're getting for this LAN. It's nice to know that the council didn't just turn around and say this is a stupid idea, we're not funding you.
Yeah, no, they didn't at all. And it was actually, we expected to go in there and have to sell the careers aspect, because we're doing the careers because we're really keen on the careers. Because my son wants to obviously be in careers in either esports or in technology in one way or another. So in doing that, we needed to put that on. But they weren't so much about all the career side of it. It was the technology and the gaming, because Peterborough is becoming this super hub.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Technology hub. And we've got the gig fibre gone in. We've got a 90-kilometre hub gone around the city of this 1 gig. And City Fibre, who put that in, are actually presenting us with 3 gig at the LAN.
Okay.
That's pretty good. So our streaming will be on a dedicated 1 gig, and that's 1 gig up, 1 gig down. That's
so hopefully we'll have no DDoSing or getting hit off or not being able to stream or anything.
Yeah, well, we hope. Yeah, so
awesome stuff. Right. Well, I guess kind of we're coming towards the end of this episode. I've got one question for you guys. So obviously at the moment you've got the expo, you've got the esports side of things, you've got the careers, you've got gaming. Both of you, if you could bring one more thing into Citylan that maybe someone has not done before, or something that you had an idea of, what would it be?
That is interesting.
I'd probably bring, because I'm a huge fan of Smite, the PC game, and I see tournaments online, but I don't see any tournaments for the arena mode. Yeah. Which that's what I play, so I'd probably
bring in Smite. Just bring it in, because obviously it's been launched on Xbox One, so that would be ideal, if anything.
Yeah, and also there's that patch where they're going to do Xbox versus PC soon, so that'll be pretty interesting to see.
Oh, really?
PC Master Race win it.
And yourself, Terry?
I don't know, really. I haven't really thought back.
Yeah, I'll kind of put you a bit on the spot.
Yeah, I don't know, really. There's a ton. We've got such a ton of stuff going on that I couldn't really think of any. We're trying to bring so much in anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I think you've done a tremendous job considering this is going to be your first event, and you've already got so much happening.
I'm just looking at cheerleaders. Did we say cheerleaders?
You can have. I'll give you cheerleaders. I will give you cheerleaders. I think you may have seen a bit too much of ESWC with their cheerleaders.
Oh no.
You'll see Terry there with crop top on and some tassels.
Really? Get in. I don't think you will.
So we're going with cheerleaders and Smite.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough. I think that's quite good. option, shall I say. But this is much going to do it for this episode of the Hub Day. A massive thank you to both Nick and Terry for coming on. I really do appreciate it. If you want to check out any of their details, everything will be down below. If you want to check out their LAN or their event or whatever to do with it, it'll be happening August 20th through 22nd, happening in Peterborough. So if you live close, go check it out. It's going to be a really awesome event. There's not just esports happening, there's gaming, careers, an expo, and so on and so forth. Excuse me. So it's going to be a really awesome event. I really look forward to it. Hopefully I'll actually be able to attend because I don't live actually too far away. But as I say, this is the end of this episode. If you have any opinions or want to kind of get involved with the show, use that hashtag #TheHubDay on Twitter. We read everything you say. Again, massive thank you to Nick and Terry. If you just want to say goodbye to everyone.
Cheers,
Tommy. Thank you,
guys.
No, you're more than welcome. Thank you for coming on, and we will see you next week, hopefully with another episode. But my name's been Tommy, guys. Do leave this video a like if you did enjoy it. As I say, links to everything that Citylan are doing down below. They're doing mini events as well in Queensgate and other areas around Peterborough, so go check it out, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Thanks.